Hey y'all, welcome back to the kitchen. I don't have a new home chef box yet, so we gotta do something interesting. I'm not cooking for us today though, I'm cooking for the dogs. I'm gonna make dog biscuits. And the dog biscuits need to be as natural as possible. My dogs have sensitive stomachs, so we try to, that's one of them right now, we try to avoid putting anything in there that's processed or anything like that that could, kind of mess up what's going on in there. So let's start with some brown rice flour, some pumpkin puree, some yams or sweet potatoes, however you like. We also have some peanut butter, all natural, nothing is in it. Turn that jar over, look at the back of it, and it should say ingredients, organic peanuts, contains peanuts. That's it, simple enough. We have some salt, some eggs, and fun little cookie cutters to make those biscuits nice and dog-like. So let's get started. First thing I like to take care of are getting these peeled and boiled so we can create a puree. So let's get these peeled. Got that all peeled, and then last minute decision I decided just to do one because we're not going to make that many dog treats. But there's our potato, and you want to grab yourself a fork and you want to give it a few good stabs. Please don't stab yourself, and that's just so the steam can escape the potato and it doesn't blow up on us. It's much, much tougher than a regular potato. Now I'm exhausted. Let's get that into the pot of water and get that going. Make sure to salt it. You don't need a lot of water because you're just going to do one potato. So the less water, the quicker it will actually boil up and be done. All right, so we have that potato going over there. I also started to preheat the oven to 350, which is going to be perfect by the time that potato gets done over there. Give it about 10 minutes. Let's start whisking these wet ingredients together, starting with the egg. We're also going to do some peanut butter, and we're going to do some puree. So first, let's go ahead and get this going. Nice medium speed. We'll start with our 2 eggs, and we'll quickly incorporate the other ingredients to make sure we don't actually whisk these eggs into a meringue before we're ready for them. So that's 2 eggs. We're going to do a 1/4 cup of peanut butter. And it's natural peanut butter, so there's some oil in there, and if things don't cooperate or come out all together like we want, we just help it out. And then I'm going to add a 1/4 cup of the pumpkin puree because we're going to add another 1/4 cup of the puree a la sweet potato once it's ready to go. So let's go ahead and incorporate that. All right, so you can hear that it's starting to really kind of kick itself together there. So we're going to kick it back up to another speed. We're going to mix this until it looks smooth. Okay. All right, so we're going to mix that together until it's smooth. Make sure you go ahead and scrape down the sides because you want to make sure all the ingredients are incorporated, and then we'll let it rest for a minute. Okay, so I say our potato's just about done. The reason I know it's done is because I can make track marks with my fork. And if I can make track marks with my fork, that means this booger is tender enough that we can go ahead and pull it out of the boil, chop it up a couple times, and get it into the Ninja so we can puree it. So we got the potato out, and you can do one of 2 things. You can go ahead and let it cool whole, or you can go ahead and chop it up depending on how much time you have. And we're gonna go ahead and chop it up and then go ahead and throw it in Ninja and get it going while it's hot. Actually, that makes it puree a little easier. But I'll go ahead and chop this up, and we'll go ahead and get it loaded into the Ninja. All right, so now that we have our puree a la sweet potato, we need to go ahead and cool this off. I recommend pulling it out of here, just the amount that you need, and throwing that in the freezer to cool it down as quick as possible. Or you can just chunk the whole thing in there, depending on how much time you have. So I'm going to take out what we need, get that in the freezer so it can chill, because we don't want it to cook our egg when we add it to our mixture. Okay, so our quarter cup of sweet potato puree is ready to go. I kind of created a little crater like that. You can kind of see it there. I did that because I wanted to increase the surface area so it would cool quicker and cool quicker around the sides as well. Neato, right? Science. All right, let's go ahead and get this mixed in. All right, we're gonna go ahead and get our mixer moving again. This mixer's just been sitting for a little bit, so give it a little width there. I'm gonna slow it down. We're gonna go ahead and add that sweet potato. So, just a refresher, it's a quarter cup of sweet potato and a quarter cup of the puree from the pumpkin. So let's let that go and make sure everything is incorporated, because next we're gonna go ahead and start adding 2.5 cups of the brown rice flour. Alright, let's go ahead and slow that down and turn it off. Strangely enough, this actually kind of smells good, which is interesting. But I mean, it's all food that we eat. Why shouldn't it smell good, right? I'm gonna go ahead and trade out my whisk for a dough hook, because we're getting ready to make that dough. And then we'll go ahead and we'll start adding that flour. And I'm going to do it a half cup at a time. That way we can make sure it's all incorporated. Alright, it's starting to look really good. So I'm going to go ahead and add the rest. We have all the flour in there. Now, I'm going to bring the camera in so you can actually take a look at this, because it looks bad before it gets better. Okay? Bad before better. So this is what it's currently looking like. We can see most of the moisture is gone and it's pulled the flour in. I'm going to go ahead and stop the mixer for a little bit so I can scrape down the sides, and then I'm going to start it again so we can get everything incorporated. Alright, so this is kind of what we're going for right here, because we're going to go ahead and pull it all together and make ourselves a good dough ball so we can get it all rolled out. So I'm going to go ahead and stop it and get it out here onto the counter that I am going to go ahead and dust with some brown rice flour as well. I have floured the surface and I got our dough mixture turned out onto the countertop. Right now we're going to kind of pull it together into a ball. Now I might have used a little bit too much flour on the surface. You don't want to use that much because you could dry your dough out and then you're looking at having to add more moisture. Say that 5 times real fast. Anyway, go ahead and get it rolled out into a ball, knead it a few times, because we're looking for a nice dough consistency. And there's moisture in there, so you really got to push into it, and you can really get that moisture to pull everything together. Don't be worried if there's small chunks of whatever the puree was that we put together in there. That's completely fine. All right, so now that we have this rolled out into a nice little mound here, we can go ahead and start getting it rolled out. You want to start in the middle and push outward. Don't worry about the cracking. That is completely normal. Now, if it cracks too much, that means your dough might be too dry, in which case you can add a little bit more of the pumpkin puree. I wouldn't add any more of the sweet potato puree, but I would definitely add more of the pumpkin puree as it has more moisture, and that'll help you out with that. You want to roll this out as thin as you want the biscuits to be. This dough does not spread, it does not rise. All right, so I have 2 size cookie cutters that I'm going to use. I have the bigger one for my bigger dog, Reese, and the smaller one for my smaller dog, Tucker. And we're just going to go in, cut it like you would a normal cookie, give it a little shake. That way it releases it, and you can pull it over and drop it to the side. Same thing with this one. Pull it in, give it a little shake. It'll come out, maybe, maybe not. You can just grab it and pull it out, set it to the side. We got them all cut out. Now, my dogs aren't going to eat all of these, so we're probably going to share with friends. But one thing I do like to do is personalize them a little bit. So we'll pull this one to the side and we'll really focus on this one here. I will be addressing these, and I'll tell you why in a second. But I have these fun little cutters that I use for fondant when I'm doing cakes, but I figured it'd be cute to kind of personalize these. They look a little big, but let's see how it works. I haven't done this before. So, put a nice, yeah, look at that. It kind of works. That's cute. Yeah, a little R for Reese. And then let's try the T for Tucker. Oh, this one will be a little difficult. Let's see. There it is. It's a little T for Tucker. Yeah, not bad. So I'm going to go ahead and do that on the rest of these. Next, you want to go ahead and poke them with the prongs of a fork. However you like. And they're kind of another little design that you can put in there. And this just kind of makes sure that they stay flat. It releases that steam because we need all of that moisture to cook out of these because they're hard biscuits. And as much moisture as we pull out without burning them, the longer we're able to feed them to our pets. And I'm gonna do that to all the rest of these, just like that. Now we can go ahead and get them in the oven. So we're gonna cook these in the oven, middle rack, for about 10 minutes. Keep an eye on them. All right, guys, these are at the halfway mark. We've baked them for 10 minutes. We're actually gonna flip them over and bake them a little bit more. Right now you can still really feel the moisture in them, but doing that flip in that additional 10 minutes will get the rest of that moisture out so we can have some good long-lasting treats. Flipped and ready to go right back in the oven. All right, guys, everybody's out of the oven. They look a little brown, which is completely fine. That means we know they are completely dry, which is what we want. And the dogs are gonna eat them anyway because they greedy. Anyway, they're good to go. We need to let them cool. I'm actually gonna pull them off the trays to cool and just let them sit on the parchment paper on the counter. They need to be completely cooled before we can give them to the dogs. All right, guys, that's that. We got them all cooled and ready to go. Let's see if the dogs like them. All right, our taste testers are ready. They are staring at these treats. All right, bakeries. Tucker. All right, let's see. Is any of them gonna put a different color on the wall today? Got a little slobber action. I think we won. All right. How was that, Tucker? Reese, you good? Oh, we're looking for more. I think we won, y'all. I think we got an A+.